What up, YouTube? Jay Riz here. Got a couple guests on the show today. Kat, my sister over here, came to mind, and she's married to Dace, my Knight's brother. It didn't even dawn on me that I can have both of them on, so I did. You know what I mean? I met Kat in sober living. You worked your way up to be a house manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we eventually started going to the morning managers meetings. You know, I see Kat more and more and more, and you know, I'll let her tell her story, but I'm just giving you guys a rundown of how I met Kat and Dace. And then I remember Dace, your sponsor is one of the guys from Newtown, right?
Yeah, Eagle.
Yeah, Eagle Irwin. Big shout out to Eagle. He watches these too. Yeah, I met Dace through Eagle, and then we started going to the nights. The nights of the round table. We started going to the Tuesday night men's meetings, and you know, me and Dace got a little closer. We were in our accountability groups together, and we got to know each other better. So yeah, that's how I met Kat and Dace. Without further ado, Kat and Dace.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kat. So I grew up in Mandaree. My parents were both alcoholics. So at a very young age, I dealt with abandonment from my mother. We lived down in Denver, and I dealt with some sexual molestation there from one of her boyfriends. And I can't remember how many days or months later we went to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where my mom and my auntie were getting ready, all fixed up to go to the bar, and they left me and my brother at my auntie's place, and they left to the bar, came back a few hours later, and they were drunk, and my mom had blood on her, and my auntie was screaming, saying that she had killed this lady. So she wanted her to leave, so my mom had left and left me and my brother in Cheyenne. Next thing you know, I was on my way to Great Falls, Montana to live with my auntie, where I dealt with some more abuse there. And then stayed there for about a year, went back to the reservation, was there for I don't even know how long. But I ran into this older girl who there did some sexual abuse too. I just kind of dealt with that throughout the years. As I got older, I never really knew where I fit in or what I was supposed to do. You know, my perception on everything was really messed up at a young age. So I felt really unwanted and unloved. So I did things that I shouldn't have done, which led me to taking my first drink. I was like, oh my God, this is it. You know, we went back to her room, and I waited for everybody to pass out so I could go in there and take another drink. Because from that moment on, that's all I wanted. You know, so as I got older, it just became a lot about drinking every chance that I had. You know, I was lying to my dad about going to basketball games, and I would be going for a run with the older kids and be drinking and wouldn't be coming home, and I'd be staying out all hours of the night, just being a bad kid. And when I didn't have a drink, I found huffing. You know, so then it became huffing. I huffed everything I could get my hands on. You know, I was always trying to escape everything that I went through, because I didn't know how to deal with none of it. So then as I got older, I got in a lot of trouble and I got sent away. Met my first kids' dad, who also liked to drink, you know, and it just became a very abusive relationship with him. We had 2 kids together, and within that, after having my second kid with him, it just was a lot of fighting and drinking that we did. Yeah, I moved home 4 years after that, and it was just the same thing, just drinking. You know, I had to get drunk, you know, and I was a binge drinker, so it wasn't just one day, it was all the time, a week long, 2 weeks long, you know. And then I ended up getting with my second kid's dad, and it was the same thing, you know. We met through alcohol, and we had our first kid together, and it was just drinking and more drinking. I was taken off from him, you know, thinking that, you know, I deserved to drink because I just was carrying around a kid for 9 months and didn't get to drink and got to watch all my friends drink. So it was entitlement that I felt. So I would leave and I would drink and then be gone for weeks. And that relationship turned toxic because we were both alcoholics. There was a lot of physical, sexual, emotional abuse in that relationship, and all I could think about was drinking, because that's all I knew how to do to deal with my pain and everything I was feeling inside. Because even with that relationship, I never felt really loved or really wanted or like I belonged in that relationship. You know, so I started working at the store in Mandaree, and this is when meth started coming around. You know, so I started getting into a little bit of that, because by then I had 6 kids. You know, ex-husband that didn't work, so I was doing everything I could to keep our family afloat. And meth just helped me. I was able to hold down 2 jobs, take care of 6 kids, you know, run around and do the things I needed to do. And then as our relationship got worse and worse, I never realized how deep in addiction and depression I was getting. Like I said, there was a lot of physical and verbal and sexual abuse in that relationship. So I got to the point to where I didn't know what to do, because this man wouldn't leave. As many times as I would kick him out, he wouldn't leave. So it was to the point to where I was either gonna off him or off myself, but I couldn't leave my kids without a parent, so I left. You know, moved to Bismarck. 8 hours later, I was with my husband now. You know, and then I told him when we first got together, you know, if you don't smoke, we can't be together. If you don't get high, we can't be together, because this is what I'm doing. You know, and I'm not about to stop. So then it was just longer and longer and deeper in addiction. Me and my husband, we put each other through a lot of abuse. You know, we were both physically abusive to each other, because that's all I knew. That's how I knew to have a relationship. You know, so I used to get mad and, you know, hit him and throw things at him, and I was really violent and mean. It was like that for maybe about a year or 2, then after that it just became that was one thing I had to have. Maybe about a year or 2 later, my little brother committed suicide. Well, I was so deep in depression and self-pity and shame and guilt and all that stuff. The same day my little brother killed himself was the same day I was gonna kill myself. I grabbed this knife, this little knife that I had or whatever, and I went to my room and I laid down and I cried myself to sleep. Woke up to a phone call, and you know, my dad was telling me that they found my brother dead at the lake. He had killed himself by carbon monoxide poisoning. So then it was just like the end. That was the last straw I had of anything. I stopped caring, I stopped loving, I stopped feeling, I just stopped everything. You know, because me and my brother weren't on talking terms when he died. We didn't talk for at least 6 years before he died. And I thought I had my whole life to fix that relationship, and it turned out I didn't. So I carried that guilt and that pain for years. I just didn't even want to live, but I knew I couldn't die, because I was my dad's only kid left, and I couldn't put my dad through all that again. So I used my brother's death as a crutch to for my dad to give me money, not knowing that I was causing a lot of harm with that. So a year later, my niece passes away. She overdoses, and yet again, here I am, not making it to her funeral, not making it to see my auntie or none of that. You know, my addiction had such a hold on me that I couldn't participate in anything. I couldn't show up and be there for people that needed me. And my depression got worse. I kept rethinking everything in my life, all the horrible things that I went through, all the horrible things that I've done, you know, and especially about not being able to fix my brother's relationship. And I couldn't get out of my own head. My mind is the worst place for me to be, you know, and me and my husband would be sitting right next to each other in the living room, and I'd feel so far apart from him. And I just couldn't, whatever I would do, I couldn't get myself out of it. You know, I wanted to argue all the time. I wanted to fight all the time. I just wanted to get all this hurt, pain out, and I didn't know how to do it anymore because drugs weren't doing it for me no more. It was just to the point where I was using it just to get up and go to the next room. You know, my husband, or his dad got really sick, and I told him, I was like, this is the only way we can stay up and take care of your dad. You know, we have to do this. We got to keep doing this because we got to take care of your dad. You know, and then his dad eventually got sicker and ended up passing away. And yet again, we were late for that one too. You know, we could never show up. I couldn't show up as a daughter-in-law, and I couldn't show up as a significant other. I was so caught up in self-centeredness and in my own self-pity, you know, that I just didn't have the want to be a part of anything. I always tried to come up with an excuse, and my head was always telling me that if I go there, they're going to talk about you, they're going to say this, so get yourself ready for that. You know, and it was, I was always in defensive mode, fight mode. You know, I have been in survival mode my whole life because that's something I had to do. So, getting all the way up to in December of 2021, me and my husband go back to the reservation, my reservation, and we get pulled over, and we have a bunch of drugs on us and scales and baggies, and you know, here I am trying to lie myself out of this, and I just can't do it. You know, we go to jail, we get bailed out, and all I could think about is what's in my safe at home. You know, I just can't wait to get home. So we go home and we get there, and first thing we do is open up that safe and line it up, back off to the races again. And this time it's even worse because I have this, I know these feds are after me, and I know they're looking for me, and I just cannot stop, and I don't want to stop. I come January, we were supposed to go back to court, and I was like, no, I'm not going. You know, I have some stuff coming in, so this is what I'm gonna do. You know, I had this whole game plan, and I was gonna use until I either died or I got caught. I remember going into my room and crying because I couldn't stop. You know, there's that Jelly Roll song, Save Me. Like, I believe that was my first cry for help. Because I really believe those words on there when it says you're a lost cause. Because that was something I was told throughout my whole life, you know, by people that were supposed to have loved me and cared for me. And in my addiction, every harsh word that was ever said to me replayed. So it got to the point where I believed everything, you know, and I would go to bed, or try to go to bed, and I would pray for God to kill me. Kill me or let me get pregnant, something to happen to make me stop, go to jail because I can't do it. You know, and that last cry that I did was the best answer I could have ever received, because that morning the feds came to my door and they got me. You know, and I grabbed my sweater and I grabbed my phone and I ran out that door, and I got in the back of that cop car, and it was like, I'm done. I'm completely done. I was ready for prison. I was ready for whatever it is that was coming for me. You know, like I said, I believed that I was a hopeless cause. So from a very young age up until I was 40, I mentally prepared myself for prison. Everything I did in my life should have gotten me sent to prison a long time ago. You know, so it was just something like, okay, I'm ready. I get to jail, and my cellmate, she was like, you know, your tribe helps out with treatment. Yeah, they have insurance and stuff, and I was like, my tribe don't help me. I was like, I want none of that paperwork. Don't even talk to me about it. And then, you know, my birthday comes up and I'm like, damn. You know, like this is like reality starting to hit. I'm in jail for like a month and a half, 2 months. And I realized like, okay, this isn't something that I should be proud of. You know, I have some clarity and some sobriety under me, and everything starts to clear up. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in jail for the rest of my life. So I go to the shower and I'm crying and I'm talking to God. I'm begging God, like, give me one more chance to make things right, and I promise I will not mess up. And then I get out of the shower and I lay down and I go to bed. And my cellmate's like, I filled that paperwork out for you. All you have to do is just sign your name. Got up, went to bed, got up that morning, made my cup of coffee in my water bottle, and I turned the TV on, and I was looking at that paperwork, and I was like, well, we'll see where it goes. So I signed everything I needed to sign, and you know, a week later I had a eval, and I was always told not to tell the truth on the eval if you don't want to go to treatment. You know, so I was like, and then there was a time too where I had told my son that, because my son was in addiction too, and I was like, you know, we got to get an eval done. You know, if you don't want to go to treatment, then you got to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth. I said, then they won't send you. And he was like, okay. And my husband's like, well, what are you gonna do? He was like, show a lie. I'm not trying to go to treatment. I was like, I don't need that. I said, I just need to save his life. I'm not worried about my life. And he was like, oh, okay. So then that whole thing right there replayed in my head when I was filling out that paperwork and getting ready for my eval. And I was like, oh my God. All right, here we go. You know, so I was all hyped up, you know, ready to go to treatment. I was supposed to leave like about a week after my birthday. And then here I am giving out my commissary and telling everybody I'm gonna head out and hugging everybody. And this big old winter storm came and shut down North Dakota. And I was like, well, typical, you know, I ain't going. And then my attorney calls after the storm cleared up, and he was like, you know, it shut down, so we had to reschedule it. And I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, hung up. And then the feds come for me, you know, so I'm off to Rugby. And then I get to Rugby, and I called my attorney, and he's like, where are you? I said, I'm in Rugby. He's like, we missed you by 15, 20 minutes. I was like, well, there it is again. See, I'm not going to treatment. You know, and waited a whole another month, and here I was off to treatment. And I was like, all right, God, I see you. On my way to Canton, South Dakota, I was like, the closer we got to the treatment center, I was like, all right, please, God, let me use my ears for the right thing, because I could never use them for the right thing. Help me listen, help me pay attention. I'm so ADHD, and I just don't care all the time. Like, help me listen to whatever it is I need to listen to, because these people here are gonna help me. You know, so I get there, and then they have a sweat there, and I was like, oh man, okay, so this is what I need, right? Because I grew up traditional, so I know I need something to take everything inside of me away. And then I get my ribbon skirt mailed to me, and I go to sweat, and this man in there that's holding the sweat says something to me that I didn't know I needed to hear my whole life. You know, he came at me from a men's perspective, and he apologized for everything. I apologize for putting my hands on you. I apologize for putting you down. I apologize for everything a man's ever done to you to hurt you. And then I lost it. I broke. You know, I cried the whole 4 rounds, and then he was just like, let it go. Forgive yourself, forgive them, but don't take it out of here. So the doors open up, and everybody talks about a spiritual awakening, where there's this big bright light and these clouds roll out. You know, while I got that, just wasn't Jesus. It was just chubby Cree guy standing by the door. I was like, all right, you know. Got out of the sweat, and I was smiling at everybody, and everybody was like, holy man. You know, because before I couldn't understand why everybody was so damn happy. Like, wanting to hug me. It's like, get away. You know, don't touch me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just don't touch me. Don't come near me. Don't look at me. Don't smile at me. Don't ask me how I'm doing. Nothing. But after that sweat there, I was like, oh, okay, all right. I might be able to make it through this. So 4 more sweats after that, a little bit more. I kept opening up, and then I get to sober living, and it was a culture shock. Like I walked into sober living, there was all these females, and I was like, oh damn, I'm for sure beating somebody up in here, man. All these girls, I was so judgmental, because I didn't like females and I didn't like males. I was hurt by both, and I just hated everybody. So I was like, how am I gonna do this? There was moments being there, I was like, I probably should just go back to jail. I can't be around these women. So I figured out that, I'll keep myself in my apartment until I learn how to be around these girls. So I did a lot of praying, a whole lot of praying, asking Creator to help me be nice, help me smile, help me laugh, show me how to laugh, show me how to love, and show me how to care. These are things I didn't know how to do. And so there was one house manager there at the time, and she was so overworked. So my first month there, I got my driver's license, and I asked if I could become a service. So I became a service. That 90 and 90 they talk about, shoot, I must have did like 290. I was going to meetings all day long, got a sponsor, started working the steps, and get 1, 2, and 3 were easy for me. The surrendering, the being returned back to sanity, and then the making a connection with my higher power. I had those, and then that 4th step, it was like, okay, my inventory. All right, well, I'm gonna tell you everything everybody did to me, so you could tell me that, so you could validate me, so you could co-sign my meanness, my how I was, and it wasn't like that. It was more or less freeing for me. So then I was able to move on, and then I became house manager. I was house manager at Healing Hearts, then went to White Shield, and then Anani's opened up, and I became a house manager out there. Sponsored ladies, went to federal sentencing, and it was good. I always wanted to be involved in something and have people actually have my back when they say they have my back. And that sentencing, it showed me that I have people that care for me. That courtroom was full of people, and the things that were said about me in my sentencing it was amazing to hear. I'm a person that has never had anything good said about her. So to hear all this good stuff about me was different. So I got to leave court, time served, 4 years paper. But what I got to leave there with was another spiritual, like a big spiritual awakening. And like this thing was removed from my eyes, and I could see the world differently now. Where once everything was ugly to me and I hated everything turned out to be beautiful, no matter what it was. The life I have now is something I never imagined. The peace that I have in my mind, the happiness that I have in my heart. I'm remending relationships. I'm working on being involved in my younger kids' lives now. I work for MHA Sober Living. I'm transport, about to be peer support specialist for the Healing Hearts Lodge. Life is good for me. I'm working on my GED. These are things that I never thought I would have in my life. In this little 2 years of sobriety that I have more than I've had in the past 41 years of my life. And I'm so grateful for recovery and everything that's going on. Did that pass?
Oh yeah. Damn good story, Kat. There's a lot of things I didn't know in there, like I heard you share here and there, but you know, a lot. We go through a lot of you know, learned behaviors, especially taking it into our adult lives, and especially into relationships and stuff. You know, I can relate to a lot of that, and it's just the you know, the turmoil and the broken homes that we grew up in. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's just what we know, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate. You know, especially like in these sober living houses, man. It's hard being a house manager because you have all these personalities. You know, you gotta learn how to use your principles.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, let's hear from you, Dace.
I'm Dace. I grew up in Sandra. Lived there all my life. Like my wife said, you know, I had both parents. They both worked jobs, you know, over 35 years, you know. I'm the youngest out of four, you know. I was the baby of the family, you know. I got everything. I was spoiled. You know, like, I was spoiled, but in a certain degree, because, you know, I was trying to be like, I was good in school, you know. I was athletic. I was playing football. Even though I'm pretty chubby, I was in track. But you know, there's a dark side of my past. You know, I was sexually molested by my two cousins. Yeah, and that's where it started going down the rabbit hole. When that happened to me, like, I never told I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell anybody. I kept it hidden because I was ashamed and guilt about what happened to me. So I started getting into marijuana at a young age. I think it was like 9 or 10. In junior high and high school, I was playing football. I still had good grades and stuff, but that's where my alcoholism and my addiction started kicking off more, because I started doing more weed. Started getting into pills. At age of 15, that's when I started drinking at a party, just to be cool, to be a people pleaser, you know. I started doing that more. Started hanging out with the wrong crowd. You know, that's when I started stealing from my mom, stealing money out of her purse, getting mad at her, even though she caught me red-handed. You know, stealing her car middle of the night just to go hang out with friends, go drink. I was a big 40 drinker at a young age, you know, drinking half a G, whatever, you know. I started doing coke at a young age. Well, it's like almost towards the end of my high school. Like, I think it was like 11th, 12th grade, I started doing coke and shrooms. I went to prom. During prom night, I got drunk. I passed out. I don't remember who was driving my mom's car, and you know, I came to. I was in somebody's driveway. I don't even know who it was. I was in the back seat. They left me. I still get into trouble, you know, with the law at a young age. I started getting into more trouble with the law, getting minor consumption, DUI, just being a knucklehead, you know. People couldn't trust me because I would steal from them. I steal their bottles or women, whatever. I don't just I couldn't be really trusted with anybody. So I started sticking to myself. I at the age of I think it was like 21 or 22. I met my kids' mom. I had my son and my daughter. They're 11 months apart, and with that relationship was really toxic. You know, I rather pick a fight with my baby mama and get kicked out and go hang out with friends than being a dad. You know, my drinking had increased a lot. You know, I started drinking half a G's more and more. I would just scramble a bunch of change just to get a bottle. Me and my brother, we used to drink a lot of 40s. I got into some trouble with the law. I sat a whole year in jail. I got out, and everybody was doing meth at the time, you know. And I was real against meth when I first heard about it. So when I tried it out once, and you know, I got hooked. I started try to gather some more, you know, steal, trade, whatever I could get, just to get my fix on the meth. So I started messaging girls on Facebook, and that's how I met my wife.
So I met my wife.
Yeah, man, I met my wife on Facebook. Me and her were talking back and forth, and she got in trouble, and then I got in trouble by our exes, and we quit talking. And she told me that she was gonna be in Bismarck. I was like, okay, well, can you come see me? Blah blah blah, you know. And pretty soon she came pick me up, and that's where my meth addiction got really took off. You know, she was really into it, and I was just now starting. And you know, I was the rookie in the game, you know, but she was a vet. So she taught me everything, you know, how to do it, how to smoke it, whatever, you know. And I really fell into it deeply, because I really started to, I got skinny. My mom and dad started noticing. I quit hanging around family. I'd rather do the drug than spend time with my parents. I hardly even got to see my kids because I was on it. Me thinking being a good dad is showing up with a bunch of toys, gifts, this and that, and spend a little bit of time with them and head out, you know. And that's that in my head, I thought that was being a good dad, right? So me doing that for a while, getting all this gifts, and yeah, it wasn't love, you know. I was buying their love. Me and my wife, when she came in with some money, you know, she started buying a trailer, got a house, and a bunch of other stuff. Started paying other people's rent, and then whatever left over with the money, you know, that was for us. So I was like, oh hell yeah, you know, like, you know, we could get a bunch of drugs, you know, we could take over North Dakota, you know. That was my little thought in my head, you know. But in reality, I was becoming a big fiend. You know, I was hiding it from her, even though we had a lot. I was still hiding it from her, just for my satisfaction, just to get high by myself. You know, like a couple years down the road, she lost some family members, lost a brother, you know, her niece, and I lost lost a couple of family members, my auntie, you know. None of that didn't really matter to me as long as I was high. You know, and what really struck me was my mom passing away first, you know, because of the COVID, you know, and that really took me, that really hit hard. So I told my wife, you know, maybe we should slow down for a bit, you know, just to ease up on it. She told me, well, if we're gonna quit everything. We're gonna quit selling. We're gonna quit using. We're gonna take everything out the house. I said, oh, okay, well, never mind. I don't want to quit. So we continued using. Me and her, we always get into arguments and pretty much just fist fight. And you know, she could hit pretty hard. I can tell you that much. Man, and she rocked my noodle one time, and it really surprised me. You know, like I never had a woman hit me that hard. You know, so
Reset your modem, huh?
yeah, and it set, pretty much set me straight. You know, pretty much set me straight. So she's a keeper. So. But yeah, anyway, when I lost my mom, it really made me think about my life. You know, I lost the biggest part of my life. You know, and what I'm gonna do now? Am I gonna become this junkie, or you know, how am I gonna take care of my kids if me and my wife do break up? You know. And I had these little thoughts in my head, you know, how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna get a job, how I'm gonna keep a job, even though I'm gonna continue to use. And I had all these thoughts and whatever. And when my wife tell me just go get a bag, then those thoughts go out the door, you know. Those little positive thoughts go out the door. When my mom passed away, you know, it hit me pretty hard when I like she said, you know, we never showed up. We showed up for service and stuff, but it was only a good minute. We got high while her services was going, and you know, I show up, shed some tears, and go in the car and go get high. You know, that was our little thing. You know, get high in the car or whatever. You know, after all that was done, you know, me and my siblings were kind of going at it because my mom and them gave us her house, or their house, their land, whatever. They split it in 4 ways because I got 3 siblings, you know, and we all equal, you know, and I was okay with that, you know. Like me and my wife were on a rough edges, you know, with the relationship and the drug using, and I don't know how I'm gonna support my life and my kids and my habit, you know. But thank God that we got indicted, we got in trouble, because I couldn't picture my life now without getting into trouble, you know, getting indicted. Really set my thinking process straight of what I'm gonna do with my life. All right, let me take this back a little bit. After my mom passed away, right? like a year later, me and my wife were taking care of my dad. You know, he was in a nursing home for a while. He checked him, he got out, whatever, and he wanted to be home. So me and my wife every day we lived in Mandan. We come down to Bismarck early in the morning and take care of my dad throughout the day. Only thing was keeping us up or keeping us active and motivated was the meth. We take my dad to his appointments every day up here in Bismarck because he was having chemo, and so me and her, and my brother, we all race up here, get him ready, get his chemo, then come back down and take care of him. And I when my dad got sent back to the nursing home, he just gave up on everything on life. He lost my mom. They've been married for about 55 years, and and that was the love of his life. He felt really lost without her, so he gave up on everything, on his health, whatever. So I've been seeing him. I've been going and checking on him like every other day at the nursing home, because he only lived like maybe like a little over a mile from where we lived in Mandan. And some days I wouldn't go see him because I cared about my addiction instead of my dad, and some days that guilt conscience come in. It's like, you better go see your dad, you better go check on him. So like this month, I want to go check on him like every other day, and we watch the Super Bowl, just catch up on him and stuff, and I seen my dad the very last time. When I seen him, he passed away right in front of me at the nursing home, and that really rocked my noodle, because I seen him like choking on his mucus and stuff, and I was high as shit, and I panicked, I freaked out, I took off, and they rushed my dad to Stanford, and and I was so shocked and scared, and I had to get high. So I got high the whole time. A couple hours later, Bismarck PD came and talked to me, asked me why I took off, and I told them I was scared. I was so traumatized about that. So, and they just headed out. So I seen my dad at Stanford, and I see my brothers, my sister, and they're all crying, and I was crying my little eyes out too. But I was really high. I didn't know how to cry about that. I was still shocked. But anyways, like after we put my dad into the ground, we had his services, and I start using more. I lost both parents less than little over a year apart. And like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Me and my wife are on a thin ice with each other. She thinks that I was messing around, but I wasn't. So like after my parents died, I couldn't do it no more. I just want to say everything, about life. About my kids, they're better off with their grandpa, and and the only way for me to be here without a purpose, is doing drugs, doing meth. I really messed myself up in my head even more, but anyways, yeah, me and my wife, we all got into drugs, into drugs, but we got into selling, and we went up to her res, and we got pulled over. Both went to jail. We bonded out, and we didn't really care about going back to court. We had a bunch of friends that are always at our trailer, but they ain't really friends. You know, they're only there for one reason only. So we continued to hang out with them until the feds came and picked us up, you know, and when the feds came that morning, you know, my wife went out the door and talked with the feds, and I was in our house, you know, and I was like, damn, no, they're here, you know. I don't know what to do, you know. I had drugs and out and out, you know. So I did the last of it, and I said, okay, they're here, okay. So they came in, took me, cuffed me up. Me and my wife were in the cop car. We went to Barely, and that was the last time I seen my wife over a couple months, you know. And I got sent to another facility here in North Dakota. I sat 7 months, and you know, by the grace of God, that the judge gave me a pre-trial release for treatment. So I got accepted to PRC, partial treatment center, you know, and you know, I did the treatment there. I graduated from treatment, and I had an option to go to sober living at the same facility, you know. So I filled out the paperwork, I got accepted, and you know, I started doing the program with my sponsor. You know, I really started doing the footwork in the program, and you know, when I started doing the steps, you know, I really looked back on myself. You know, I was this, I was that. You know, all the selfish and like all the selfish things that I was. You know, I put it on paper, and you know, I could finally see myself on papers. You know, I was this and that. You know, I was a piece of shit. You know, on everything, to my family, to my mom, to my kids, you know, to my wife, you know, to everybody. And you know, like, and boom, like a light bulb hit. You know, like, this is you right here. You know, and I was like, oh, okay, that's me. All right. So I need to better myself. So I started praying, meditating. I started going to sweats, and I started going to sweats and partial. That's kind of had my little spiritual awakening. You know, I finally seen my purpose in life. You know, in my life, you know, I'm here for my kids. I'm here for my wife. I'm here for my family. And you know, I started doing the footwork, and I graduated from. I got discharged from sober living, and you know, I got out of sober living. I went to sentencing. I got 4 years probation. And you know, after I came back here to Bismarck, this is where I did all my reckoning from, you know, and start doing the program, start doing the service work, and start giving back. And you know, I've been doing the program ever since. You know, me and my wife have 2 years, you know, of being sober, and it's the best feeling that both of us could have. You know, we both have good, legitimate jobs that we continue to do every day. You know, we could both sponsor. We're happy. We don't fight no more. You know, you know, we're doing the damn thing. You know, so know, my suggestion is just to do the work, you know, have a spiritual awakening, get a sponsor, do the steps, do the program, you know, and really really try to work on yourself. But yeah, that's all I got.
Right. Thanks, Stace.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, man. Hearing your guys' stories, you know, that's the title I came up with this channel is like Recovery Warrior. You know, because we're all recovery warriors, you know, in this game, in this fight that we have, this addiction that we have to face. And we're not the only ones, you know, doing this battle. You know, there's millions of us out there who are addicts and alcoholics. And we always will be addicts and alcoholics, you know. And there's a certain point in people's lives, you guys both touched on it, there's a turning point, you know, that's what we do. Like we put up our dukes, you know, throughout our life and we just live on edge. But there's a turning point where it's at grasp, you know, every day, you know, it's like we become warriors in this game of recovery, and hence the name Recovery Warrior, you know. Whether it be a man or a woman, you know, we're still fighting this battle, you know. And I definitely loved hearing your guys' stories, you know, because we fight this battle every day, and we are warriors, you know. It's never gonna end, man. If you don't give it to the higher power, the creator, the God, you know, you're screwed. You know, I've said it time and time again, and you guys touched on it. That was great, man. Hearing you guys' stories, and really appreciate you guys' time. You know, if you ever want to come back, let me know.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
So YouTube, if you guys liked what you see, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. Thank you. Love you.
Peace.